Thank you, Ms. Matheson. Mr. Kelly, 5 minutes.
Thank you. I'd like a little more clarity again on the armaments of the CF-18 and the CF-18s that were scrambled and the ones that we have the ability to scramble. Media reports have said that the AIM-9s have not arrived but were ordered 2 years ago. Were the armaments of the aircraft that were scrambled, in an earlier comment you said that they were armed with missiles capable of, that you believed were capable of striking and taking down a balloon, although there would have been tests if they were going to make the shot. So can you clarify the status of the CF-18's armaments?
Okay, I'll let John Prevost talk about the acquisition project. Over.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for the question, Mr. Chair. So the F-18s had been scrambled for the object that was shut down in Yukon. We had been scrambled on this one, and on board the F-18 were infrared missiles that we believe would have been able to take the shot. We don't know this because we never made it, and the decision was made to shoot it down using the F-22. Similarly, when the object came over Lake Huron, if the F-16s from the U.S. would not have shut down that object, the F-18 had been scrambled from Bagotville on their way to take over from the U.S. on this one. It had infrared missiles on board, and we believe we would have been able to take it. We'll never know.
Are these the missiles that had been ordered as an update to the CF-18 armament, or are these the older missiles?
So the F-18 has the AIM-9 Mike, which is a lesser version than the one that was used in the U.S., but we believe we would have been able to take a shot.
On the object that was shot down over Yukon, so this was tracked, you've said, and the American F-22s were in contact with it before it crossed the border. Why was it not shot down over American space?
Okay, thanks for the question, Mr. Chair. So the object was detected early, I'm going to say early morning, but in Yukon and Alaska, early morning is late morning for the folks in the lower 48, just because of a later sunrise. And so given the size of the object needed to be intercepted during daytime, in order to actually be able to identify and characterize the object itself.
It was a question of waiting for sunrise. So is darkness part of a gap in our awareness and able to detect and identify threats to our airspace?
Thanks for the question. Darkness is maybe a challenge, depending on the speed, size, and characteristics of the object. Because with sensors on board of the different aircraft, there may be an ability to actually characterize, but it's also that ability is dependent on a number of factors, to include infrared signatures and electro-optical characteristic as well. So in this case, in order to actually have a better characterization of the object and its potential package, we scramble fighters, and that scramble led to an intercept that was just before sunrise, and about 5 minutes after sunrise, that object crossed into Canadian airspace, and so that's why F-22 were on board, following and tracking the object.
There's an awful lot of darkness in the winter in these latitudes. That is somewhat troubling that there's such a short window. Just if that's part of the necessity of assessing whether or not there is a kinetic threat. And let me get to that point. Commander General Van Herk had, I guess, in earlier testimony we heard that he was confident that there was no kinetic threat on the first balloon, the PRC confirmed balloon that was shot down later. So if it was determined that there was no kinetic, how was he able to make that call so early? Can you walk us through how this happened?
Thanks for the
very
question.
briefly,
Mr.
please.
Chair.
Sorry, very briefly, Mr. Kelly is beyond his time.
Okay, good. So assessment was made using a number of systems that are within NORAD and also within the commander's ability to use. And those systems, after a quick analysis of the potential payload that was underneath the structure, led the commander to his conclusion.
Mr. Kelly,